and today we're diving into a crucial conversation about mental health and the impact of smartphones on our youth. But that's not all. We're also going to dive into the media's hypocritical treatment of Meghan Markle compared to Kate Middleton. We'll be exposing the double standards in how the UK press praises Kate for something as trivial as re-wearing expensive outfits, while Meghan gets called out for doing the same thing. Before we begin, let me share a verse from the Bible that really resonates with this topic. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Proverbs 22:6. This verse reminds us of the importance of guiding the younger generation, especially when it comes to their mental well-being. And with that in mind, we'll be talking about Prince Harry's recent discussion with social psychologist Jonathan Haidt on World Mental Health Day. They explored the deep connection between smartphones, social media, and the mental health challenges facing today's youth. Before we dive in, I just want to thank all of you, our amazing subscribers and viewers. Your support means the world to us. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. And if you'd like to help support the channel, you can donate through Super Thanks. On October 10th, which was World Mental Health Day, Prince Harry joined Jonathan Haidt for an honest discussion about the hidden impact smartphones and social media have on young people's mental health. Prince Harry didn't mince words when he said, in many cases, the smartphone is stealing young people's childhood. It's a powerful statement, isn't it? How often do we see kids, even teenagers, glued to their phones, disconnected from the real world around them? Haidt agreed with Harry, pointing out that kids born after 1995, especially in English-speaking countries, are dealing with skyrocketing rates of anxiety, depression, self-harm, and even suicide, and he directly ties that to the rise of smartphones. Think about it. Devices that were supposed to make life easier have created a mental health crisis that's robbing our youth of peace and happiness. Now, during the conversation, Prince Harry touched on something that really struck me. He mentioned how tech companies often blame parents for the mental health issues kids are facing. The narrative goes something like, well, it's the parents' fault for not controlling their kids' screen time. But Jonathan Haidt wasn't having that. He flat out said, if there were some parents who were getting it wrong and others were getting it right, then I'd understand that argument. But that's not the case. Once kids get a phone and social media, it becomes a constant fight over screen time, and this is happening in households everywhere. It's like we've all been put in this impossible situation by the tech companies, and then we're blamed for not knowing how to handle it. Parents are trying their best, but the system isn't designed to help them. It's set up to make kids, and even adults, addicted to their screens. Another thing that Harry brought up was this idea that social media platforms like Instagram, TikTok and Snapchat are often seen as lifelines for kids. We're told these platforms are crucial for kids to express themselves and stay connected. But Haidt called that a myth. He said, if you really want to help kids feel more connected, the solution is to put down the phones and connect in person. He talked about how research shows that when kids have a best friend or a small group of close friends, they generally do well in life. But when they're relying on hundreds of online connections, they feel more isolated than ever. It's that illusion of connection that social media sells. 300 followers doesn't equal 300 friends. It's more like 300 distractions, keeping kids from building the deep, real relationships that are so essential for their well-being. As they wrapped up their conversation, Haidt said something that hit hard. 2024 is the turning point. Terrible things have happened to our kids, but we didn't know the full impact 10 years ago. Now that we do, it's time to act. This is where the conversation shifts from talking about the problem to looking for solutions. We can't blame parents for not knowing the dangers of smartphones a decade ago. But now that we understand the risks, it's our responsibility to change things. Haidt and Harry both emphasized that it's time to hold tech companies accountable and give parents the tools they need to protect their kids. Harry's work through the Archewell Foundation is already making strides in this area, shedding light on the mental health struggles of young people around the world and helping to spark the conversations we need to have. So, let's talk about Kate. The other day, she was out with William visiting the families of victims of a tragic stabbing in Southport. It's a heavy subject, no doubt, and Kate chose to wear a brown Alexander McQueen coat that cost nearly £3,000. Now, this isn't the first time she's worn this coat. She was first spotted in it back in 2022 during her Boston trip. The media immediately jumped on this and praised her for recycling the coat, calling it timeless and classy. Here's the thing. Why is Kate getting celebrated for this? But when Meghan rewears her clothes, especially that beautiful red dress, she's hit with criticisms like, she's out of touch, or why does she think she can pull this off? It's this clear double standard that tells us there's something deeper going on in the media's treatment of these two women. Why is Kate considered relatable when she wears a designer coat that costs as much as some people's yearly rent? But Meghan can't catch a break for being a modern, independent woman. Let's be real. The UK media has always had an obsession with image, and Kate fits their preferred mould. She's the perfect princess, isn't she? Always poised, always appropriate, and of course, always styled in expensive designer outfits that the media adores. But when Meghan does the same, suddenly it's an issue. Take, for example, that time Meghan re-wore her red Carolina Herrera dress. What happened? The media tore into her, saying she was too bold or trying to outshine others, yet Kate rewears a pricey coat, and she's praised as thrifty and relatable. It's mind-boggling and, quite frankly, exhausting to see the same narrative over and over. The media chooses their darlings and sticks with them. And sadly, Meghan has never been one of them. And since we're talking about double standards, let's not forget William. Remember when Prince Harry grew a beard? It became a whole media frenzy. There were headlines like, "Should a royal have a beard?" And people criticised Harry for looking unkempt. Yet here we have William, who's tried to rock a beard a few times. And let's be honest, it's not exactly a look that works for him. But where's the outcry? Why isn't the media all over him for that? It's like the rules don't apply equally, and it's just another example of how they constantly pick and choose who gets dragged and who gets a free pass. What we're seeing is part of a larger problem with the British media's obsession with controlling narratives and pushing their favourites. Kate gets painted as this perfect future queen, always praised for her every move, while Meghan gets vilified for simply existing. When you start to notice these patterns, it's hard to unsee them. The media doesn't just report the news, they shape it, manipulating public perception in ways that aren't always fair or accurate. And it's not just about clothes either, it's about how Meghan has always been treated as an outsider, someone who didn't fit into the royal mould from the start, and the media has capitalised on that at every opportunity. Meanwhile, Kate can do no wrong, even when she's wearing outfits that cost more than most people make in a month. It's a blatant example of favouritism, and it needs to be called out. So, what can we take away from this? Smartphones and social media are a double-edged sword. They've connected us in incredible ways, but at the same time, they've driven a wedge between real, meaningful relationships, especially for our kids. Prince Harry's commitment to raising awareness about mental health is a reminder that we all have a role to play in supporting the next generation. At the same time, we cannot ignore the damaging role that media bias plays in shaping how we view public figures, particularly when it comes to race and gender. Let's hold the media accountable for their double standards, and let's stand with Harry and Meghan as they continue to challenge the toxic narratives that the press spins. If you found this conversation as important as I did, please hit that subscribe button, like, and share this video with others. Your support helps us continue these meaningful discussions. And for those who want to go the extra mile, you can donate via Super Thanks. Let's leave with this. We can't blame ourselves for what we didn't know, but now that we do, it's time to act. Stay blessed, and we'll see you next time.